Hey guys, so today we're making saltfish and dumplings. So I'm gonna be making the saltfish and dumplings also with some boiled green bananas and boiled plantains. You could add any ground provision that you'd like with this dish. Like you could do some boiled yams if you like, or sweet potatoes. It's totally up to you. So in Grenada we call this saltfish sauce, and I absolutely love it. So let's get started with the recipe. So also when I'm making saltfish and dumplings, I actually add a good bit of oil in my saltfish because I like my saltfish to kind of have a little bit of sauce in it to dip my dumplings and bananas in. So good. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I did was in a large pot, I put some water to boil, and I added in my plantains. I just washed them off, and the green bananas, and I cut both ends of the plantains and green bananas, and I put them to boil in a pot with a little bit of oil and salt. And you want the plantains and green bananas to be covered in with the water, so the water would be above it basically, and you're gonna let that boil until it starts opening like this here. Once they start to, like, the skin start to like bust open, they're good. You're gonna turn them off the stove and remove the hot water and set it aside to cool. Okay, so while your ground provision is boiling, you're actually gonna boil the saltfish too. So in a separate pot, I added in some water, and you're gonna put the saltfish in the pot of water and let it come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, you're gonna let it boil for about 5 minutes. You're gonna remove that water and change the water, put fresh new water into the pot with the saltfish, and let it boil a second time. That's to remove the extra salt that comes with the saltfish. So you're gonna boil it twice for about 5 minutes each time, and then you're gonna remove the water, let it cool if you need to, and then you're gonna use 2 forks, or you can use your hands and flake the fish, break it up. And then we're gonna set that aside, and we're gonna start to work on our dumplings. Okay, so in a large bowl, I'm adding in a few cups of flour, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. I added about a teaspoon of salt, and I'm using my hands to mix the flour and the salt together. And then we're gonna start adding in some water. So I'm adding in warm water, and I'm just gonna bring the dough together. So you trying to form a ball and make a dough. So add the water in slowly because you don't want to add too much water, and then your dough will be too soft. So add in the water little by little until the flour forms into a dough, and you're gonna knead the flour until it comes together. So I'm just gonna be using my hands and folding the dough and kneading it until it's nice and tight and smooth. If you end up adding too much water, just add in a little bit more flour to help the dough become nice and smooth, and knead it for about 4 to 5 minutes. And once it's nice and smooth, that's it for the dumplings. We're gonna start forming the dumplings. So I put a pot on my stove with boiling water. Once it starts to boil, you're gonna break apart the dough into like little pieces, and I'm using my hands to roll out the dough, and I'm just gonna be shaping it. So here I'm making long dumplings, so I'm just rolling it in between my hands to make those long shapes of dumplings. So you could do those, or you could do like the circular dumplings, and yeah, so that's totally up to you which one you'd like to do. In here I show you both ways, and you just shape the dumplings until they're nice and smooth into the shape you'd like, and then we're gonna dump it into the pot of boiling hot water. Okay, so once I drop my dumplings into the pot of hot water, I'm gonna leave them there without moving them for about 3 to 5 minutes to let them kind of cook a little bit before I use my pot spoon and like lightly stir them in the pot. And then let the dumplings cook for about 10 to 15 minutes until they're fully cooked and nice and firm. Then you're gonna remove the water from the dumplings and set them aside until we're ready to plate them. Okay, so now last but not least, we're gonna make our saltfish sauce with some cabbage and carrots in it. Okay, so here I'm thinly slicing my cabbage. Okay, and then I'm also gonna thinly shred some carrots. So you can use a grater to help you shred the carrots. And then I also chopped up some red onion and yellow bell peppers. You could use, oh, and also some a few cloves of minced garlic. You could add extra veggies in this if you like you could use scallion and you could add thyme, but I kept mine pretty simple here and it tasted absolutely delicious as well. Okay, so in a hot pot, I added in some oil. Add enough oil in the pot, guys. You can start with about, I would say, 1/4 cup and add as much as you need, because you want to have enough oil in the pot so that when the oil mixes with the onion and bell peppers and all the veggies we're going to be using, it's going to form like a nice sauce in the end. So in the hot pot, I added the red onion and the bell pepper, and I let that cook for about 2 minutes before I added in my shredded cabbage, shredded carrots, and also I diced up half of a tomato, so you could add in some tomatoes also. And after you add that in, we're gonna add in the saltfish that we flaked earlier. So put all of that into your pot, give it a nice mix, and then I'm gonna season up my saltfish a little bit, and I'm seasoning it with black pepper and a little bit of onion powder and some garlic powder. That's it. I'm not adding anything else into the saltfish, and just give that a stir, mix everything together. Once again, if you don't have enough oil in the pot, you don't want too much oil, but you want a little bit in there so that you could dip your dumplings and green bananas and enjoy the dish. As you can see, I have oil in the pot and it made a nice sauce in the bottom. Okay, so yeah, I cover my pot and I let the saltfish mix with the other ingredients for about 3 minutes over a low heat. Okay, you want it on low heat. And once your saltfish is done, we're gonna plate our dish. So here I'm slicing up my boiled plantains and green bananas, and next I'm gonna add in the saltfish sauce, and of course I'm gonna drizzle in some of that sauce from in the pot onto my dish over my saltfish. And then once we do that, guys, you can enjoy your dish. So yeah, that's it for this recipe. It's pretty easy and simple to make, and it's absolutely delicious. So I hope you guys give it a try. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, that's it. Oh, I also plated this with some fried plantain as well, because who don't love fried plantains? But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye.